Hello everybody, this is Lukasz Fikus, and in this fourth episode about Horizon DAC, the latest Lampizator flagship product, we will talk about the user interface between the listener, the user, and the DAC. And in the previous episode, we were talking about the Nixie tube. The Nixie tube that is part of our display. The information on display is very limited, but I don't feel like the DAC has to provide any information. By using your tablet, using your computer, your file interface, you see the name of the song, you see the duration of the song, you see all the tags, you see the file or the type of file, if it's FLAC or if it's WAV or IF, if it's streaming, if it's Cobbles, if it's Tidal. You know everything about this file. You know its frequency, if it's DSD 512, DSD to 128. So we don't have to duplicate that information just to reconfirm what you already know. For me, it's more important that any file that you play will immediately play and have good sound on our DAC. So we don't need to inform you what we play, because we play everything that is, as we say, thrown at it. The user interface consists of 3 buttons and 2 digits. And we try to use these Nixie tubes knowing that they don't provide the amount of information like a color, touchscreen, or something like that. But actually we managed to squeeze from the 2-digit interface a lot of information. Let's start with the muting function. When we mute the product, it goes to 00, and we know that the muting has been applied, and it's by default when the unit is switched on. Now we can unmute and we see the volume level. This is the 2-digit volume level starting from 00 to in 64 steps, going to the maximum of 63 dB gain. On this same 2-digit display, we are able to show the number of input. We see input 03, 02, 1, and 8, and it will cycle because we have 8 inputs. So USB is on input 4. When we set input 4, we know that it's USB. So for this brief moment, it's displayed on the front, and then it defaults to volume level. Each of the 8 inputs will remember your volume setting for that input. So maybe you have a turntable connected with a phono stage, and maybe you have a reel-to-reel, maybe you have a TV going through the Toslink interface. On any of these inputs, maybe the requirements for volume will be different. So when we memorize them, each time we go to the input, we will have the same last used volume level. So that prevents us from going all the time defaulting to 0, or accidentally going to maximum and then blowing our speakers. So we have indication of muting, indication of volume level, indication of input number. We also have indication of bypassing the entire preamp section, going into straight tube DAC output with a maximum volume, and that is indicated by digit 63. We can go to 63, and that means the 63 means bypass of volume section. It gives us the most pure, most dynamic sound, but then we need to use the power supply of the amplifier, which may be and probably is of lesser quality than this volume control, which is of the highest possible caliber. So it's very rarely used by common amplifiers. Going back down, you can see that there is various speed. When we hold the button longer than 2 seconds, the speed of changing the volume accelerates to the maximum possible speed, and you can see very quick decrease or very quick increase, because the system understands that you are holding the button because you want to go very quickly up or down. And the last function of the display which we use is the countdown. When the unit is switched on, I can demonstrate by switching it off. It goes to standby and then to sleep. And when we switch it on, the unit will use a 30-second countdown in order to stabilize the tubes, go to the correct operating temperature for tubes, and also to to establish connection between the computer and the DAC, because the USB sometimes takes a couple of seconds to recognize, negotiate the connection speed and the default driver for that given USB port. So this is the functionality of the remote. And also these three buttons can do everything from the front panel. So if you lose the remote, or if you forgot where you put it, or maybe the battery is dead, you can use these buttons to go up with volume or down with volume, select inputs, and then switch it on and off with the middle button. I hope that you find it as useful and as attractive as I do, because I think it's the coolest user interface on the market.